Hello and welcome to the Global Innovators in Business series. In this series, we interview leaders and innovators from different fields to share their advice and experience with undergraduate students to provide inspiration and motivation. We're so happy to have with us Mr. Vikas Garg. Vikas is the founder and CEO of A Billion. A Billion is a social media platform for vegan and vegetarian people. A Billion also aims to attract more people to live a sustainable and healthy lifestyle. So I'm very happy to have you with us here, Vikas.
It's a pleasure to be here.
What's the things that influence you to build A Billion? What impact you want to bring through this company, and can you tell us more about the story of A Billion?
So there's really two or three things. One's very easy to understand. I grew up around the early days of technology businesses online. So think of platforms, companies like eBay and Etsy and Amazon. So my dream was one day, wow, I want to build a platform. The second one is when growing up in India and then moving to America, one of the things that was a really big part of our values and our beliefs, and something that we actually we put into practice every single day. I'd almost say it's even better than being religious, because if you're religious, you go to church once a week, maybe, but when you're a vegetarian, you're living these values every single day with every meal, with everything you put in your body. And then the third thing was social media. I had never used social media in my life, ever. But what happened in 2016 was this guy, Donald Trump, got elected president of the United States. And I started thinking about, wow, look at how all of our private data is being used to spread misinformation, to even interfere with elections. So I started to think, could we redesign social media to actually create impact in the world? And could we use that as a lever to build a platform that actually made the world a better place? So that was the beginnings of A Billion, was actually in the beginning of 2017.
I know you started your career very early as a banker in Wall Street, and also you worked in the public sector in the US for 2 years. How did you plan your early career path, and what's the most important lesson you learned before building A Billion?
So in my early career, I actually started working when I was really young. I grew up in New York City, and I always had this dream of working on Wall Street and becoming a hedge fund manager. And I read a lot of books about trading markets, and it was just all very exciting. And for an immigrant kid, that always seemed like the fastest way to earn a living and make a buck and succeed, especially in a place like New York City. So I went headfirst into that career as a teenager, and never looked back. In my 30s, I think more about for myself and started to really think, what did I want my life to be about? And that's when I really started to feel like there was a divide between my values and the things that I actually was really proud of in my life, and how little many of the things that I had to be was very proud of in my life had to do with my career and my work. And I started to feel like, wow, could I bring my values and my purpose together with my work? Wouldn't that be really fantastic? And so I felt like in my early 30s, I was really searching for that, and I finally found that beginning in 2016 and 17, and that's about the time that I started A Billion.
So what do you think about the new technology? For example, you mentioned plant-based meat, and there are also cell-based meat.
The thesis around that is that if we can grow meat in a lab without the requirements that we have for growing meat, or growing meat on a farm, for example, with animals, if we can do that without the animal, without the land, without the water, and we could do it in a much more environmentally sustainable way, while giving people all of the pleasure and nutrition that they get, or they think that they're getting from meat, that would be a really good idea. So there's a lot of companies that are trying to do this. Ultimately, I think that the challenge here is you can always create anything, right? But what is the consumer adoption going to be like? And then of course, cost is going to be a huge function. All of these products in research and development right now are, of course, incredibly expensive relative to the products that they're trying to replace. So if the cost can be brought down, this is something that a lot of people have been working on for a long time now, for maybe 10, 15 years, and it's exciting to see the developments. There is a massive industry globally that has already been created around plant-based meat. There's 29,000 products around the world on our platform just in that category. So there's definitely a lot of options for people who say, hey, okay, I want to reduce my meat consumption, and I feel like I still want and crave those things, so maybe I'll replace them with these plant-based alternatives.
As a startup, how do you think the startup ecosystem currently in Singapore compared with, for example, in the US or in the other places in the world?
What I've learned is it's really important to ask yourself, where is the ecosystem strongest for what it is that you're doing? So if you are building something that's very Southeast Asia focused, and maybe it's a fintech platform, or maybe it's something else, right? But that's very relevant to this market. Singapore is, boom, the right place for Ian. If you are building something for the Indian market, you probably wouldn't be here, right? Now, if I had to say, hey, where's the best place for, let's say, our company to be based for the next 5 years, it's definitely a conversation that's something that I think about a lot these days, because we've gotten to a certain stage, and now it's, where are we going to get a combination of talent? And talent isn't just about, oh, do people have the skills, but also, do people have the desire? Where is the largest group of people that will have the desire to work for a company like ours, right? That are also very skilled. Singapore is a great ecosystem, but I think that anybody thinking about where to get started, you've got to consider where is the best ecosystem for what it is that you want to do. And that probably 90% of the time the right place to go and start your business.
Do you think for a young professional it's better to start with a big name company, or they can deep dive into the startup environment directly?
You can go either way. If you're going to go work for a big company, I would try to make sure that you go and you figure out who's the person that you are going to be working for, and you interview that person the same way that they would be interviewing you. If you're interested in creating your own company, my advice would be just go and do that right now. If you're 21 years old, start a business. Other people can really benefit from having some strong fundamentals. So if you can get 2 years, 3 years under your belt of working in a great environment, get a lot of training, that's always valuable. Learning how to talk, learning how to present yourself, learning how to write clearly, learning how to use financial modeling. All of these tools are really important. They'll be valuable for your whole life. But I think the key is, whatever you do, find something that's going to really challenge you, and find something that you're going to have to really work very hard in the first few years of your career.
Okay, that's all for today. Thank you so much for being here. It's
my pleasure.
It's such a great honor to invite you.